Knowledge of Ukrainian state formation history is a powerful tool against the manipulation of historical facts in the context of the hybrid war waged by the Russian Federation against Ukraine. The enemy's deliberate attack on the historical front began long before the hostilities and, in many ways, served as a prologue to them. This invisible front line ran through school and university textbooks and through the systematic policy of shaping our historical memory. By denying the enduring tradition of Ukrainian statehood, questioning its legitimacy, and appropriating, silencing, or discrediting prominent figures of Ukrainian history, our adversaries aim to undermine the internal national unity of Ukrainian society. In this context, emphasizing our historical heritage, the continuity of Ukrainian statehood, and most importantly, how society perceives the manifestations of the struggle for Ukrainian independence that enemy propaganda has sought to portray negatively, such as the OUN UPA struggle and the act of proclamation of the Ukrainian state on June 30th, 1941, becomes especially crucial. Real history refutes the false and distorted claims of Russian propaganda, which suggest that Ukrainians and Russians are a single people and that Ukraine is an artificial, unsustainable state. Therefore, the current war is not only a struggle for the future of our country, but also for its past, national independence, and identity. For the strengthening and civilizational development of our state, the will and actions of dedicated individuals are of paramount importance. Those who protect Ukraine at the front, support the army, and build the country in the rear. The war with Ukraine will be the beginning of the end of Russia and will lead to its disintegration, said Mustafa Dzhemilev, a recognized moral authority of independent Ukraine, a leader of the Crimean Tatar national movement, a dissident and human rights defender who led the Mejlis of the Crimean Tatar people for nearly 20 years. Mustafa Dzhemilev exemplifies indomitable faith and steadfastness of spirit. He fought against the Soviet system for the return of his deported people to Crimea, was convicted 7 times, spent over 15 years in Soviet prisons and labor camps, and undertook a hunger strike for 303 days as a form of protest. There was a terrible hunger strike because I recently discovered, actually last year, in one of the publications, a ranking of the longest hunger strikes in human history. Mine lasted 303 days. This is considered a world record. At that time, of course, I did not aim to set records. However, hunger strikes in the Soviet Union differ in that enforced feeding is used. Globally, Dzhemilev is known as a proponent of European and Euro-Atlantic integration for Ukraine and the establishment of democratic principles in Ukrainian society. Mustafa Dzhemilev firmly believes in the inviolability of Ukraine's borders and did not recognize the 2014 Crimean pseudo-referendum. The Russian occupation administration banned him from entering his native Crimea until 2034. Dzhemilev's dignified response to this was, "No matter how much repression and persecution I endure, I can firmly say that no one, ever and under any circumstances, will force me to abandon the duties imposed by honor, national dignity, and civic duty."
In early October 2022, for the first time in the history of Ukraine, the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to a human rights defender and the head of the Center for Civil Liberties, Oleksandra Matviychuk.
I have the honor to call upon Oleksandra Matviychuk, representing Center for Civil Liberties, to deliver the Nobel Peace Prize lecture for the Center for Civil Liberties.
Humanity has a chance to overcome global crisis and embark on a new path of world understanding. It's time to take responsibility. We don't know how much time we have. And since this is the Nobel Peace Prize during a time of war, I urge people around the world to stand in solidarity with Ukraine. You don't have to be Ukrainian to support Ukraine. Just being human is enough. As a Nobel laureate, Oleksandra Matviychuk was recognized as one of the 25 most influential women of 2022 by the Financial Times in the Women Leaders category. The BBC also recognized the human rights activist's work by including her in the list of 100 women of 2022. Oleksandra Matviychuk became interested in human rights activism in school after meeting dissident Yevhen Sverstyuk. During that time, Matviychuk attended meetings of the 60ers and listened to their stories. I studied at the Ukrainian Humanitarian Lyceum. Yevhen requested that the Lyceum provide readers for an evening dedicated to Taras Shevchenko, with the condition that the students choose the poems they would recite. I selected 2 poems. I was invited to participate and went to the first rehearsal at the teacher's house. I recall Yevhen approaching me and asking, "You are so small. Why did you choose these 2 poems?" During her university studies, she conducted human rights trainings with the Human Rights Foundation. Leaders of human rights organizations from 9 post-Soviet countries decided to establish a cross-border resource support center in Kyiv, named the Center for Civil Liberties, with Oleksandra Matviychuk at its helm. The organization's official mission is to ensure the observance of human rights, democracy, and solidarity in Ukraine, and the OSCE region to uphold human dignity. The human rights team of the Center for Civil Liberties advocates for values such as respect for human dignity, freedom, human rights, democracy, rule of law, non-discrimination, and solidarity. During the Revolution of Dignity, Oleksandra Matviychuk, along with other activists and human rights defenders from the center, coordinated Euromaidan SOS, an initiative to provide legal help to survivors created in response to the brutal crackdown by Berkut on peaceful student demonstrators on November 30th, 2013 on Maidan.
With the onset of the Russian Federation's armed aggression against Ukraine, the center's team, led by Matviychuk, engaged in mobile monitoring groups in Crimea and Donbass, and submitted evidence of crimes against humanity to the International Criminal Court. In 2015, following the mass detention of Ukrainian citizens in occupied territories by Russian authorities, the center launched the Let My People Go information campaign to draw global attention to the plight of Ukrainian prisoners subjected to torture by Russians. In 2018, Matviychuk initiated the Save Oleg Sentsov campaign to support director Oleg Sentsov, who was imprisoned under a fabricated sentence by the Russian Federation. Oleksandra believes it is crucial to establish an updated international peace and security system that eliminates the culture of impunity and protects societies from war and authoritarian regimes. She argues that the existing system proved ineffective, outdated, and inadequate when the Russian-Ukrainian war began. According to Matviychuk, Ukraine could play a pivotal role in shaping a global approach to justice concerning war crimes. For decades, the world, especially developed democracies, made forced concessions to dictators. Now they are learning from Ukraine and Ukrainians that it is essential to fight for the values of civilization and protect freedom, says the human rights defender.
The name of Volodymyr Rybak, a member of the Horlivka City Council, forever remains in the memory of his compatriots as a symbol of the indomitable Ukrainian spirit. In the spring of 2014, with the rise of separatists in the city, he became a leader of the anti-separatist movement and called for Ukrainian unity. On April 17, 2014, during a rally, Volodymyr Rybak attempted to remove the flag of the DPR from the Horlivka City Council and replaced it with the state flag of Ukraine. For this courageous act, on the orders of the representative of the Russian GRU, he was kidnapped, tortured, and brutally killed. On February 20th, 2015, Volodymyr Rybak was posthumously awarded the title of Hero of Ukraine and the Order of the Golden Star for his courage, patriotism, and selfless service to the Ukrainian people.
In her songs, Anastasia Shevchenko turns herself and her art into a weapon. The singer is known by the pseudonym Stasyuk, a former actress of the Dak Theater, TV presenter for UA Suspilna, ATO veteran, and, since the beginning of the full-scale invasion, the head of a medical evacuation crew. Anastasia says, "Creativity is a tool of expression for me, and singing is the most comfortable language. Just as books are for writers, Facebook posts are for bloggers, and paintings are for artists. Unfortunately, I am not making music at the moment." In 2014, joining the war was a logical continuation of the Revolution of Dignity. Maidan helped me realize the value of my own state, and defending the values of my state on Maidan naturally transitioned into defending it at the front. Anastasia Shevchenko challenges the conventional pop music, which often featured caution, abstractions, mythology, and contrived stories. She is one of the few pop singers who speaks not only about her personal pain, but also about the pain of the country, its land, and its people. I love this country, which is why both my work in the political sphere and my musical expressions serve the same purpose. I want it to be good to live in this country, and I am doing everything I can for this, says Anastasia Shevchenko, which can rightfully be considered her life credo.
Some individuals have such extraordinary biographies that it seems they have lived multiple lives due to their extensive accomplishments. Unfortunately, a lot wasn't achieved because of the war, which takes away the best. On January 2nd, 2023, Oleg Yurchenko joined the Heavenly Legion of Heroes. He was a Ukrainian public activist, major in the Armed Forces of Ukraine, participant in the Russian-Ukrainian War, and member of the Union of Ukrainian Youth, co-organizer of the All-Ukrainian Children's and Youth Patriotic Game Sokol Zhora, Knight of the Order of Bogdan Khmelnytsky, 3rd degree, and Knight of the Order for Courage, 3rd degree. Oleg received his first military training in a Marine Brigade in Crimea and became an exceptional sniper. He led the Ukrainian Youth Union branch in Kyiv and was a member of the Stepan Bandera Center for National Revival's leadership, an active participant in the Orange Revolution and the Revolution of Dignity. Oleg was wounded in confrontation with Berkut as a member of the 4th Cossack 100. After recovering, he held various managerial positions in the security service of Ukraine from 2014. From 2016 to 2018, he served in the Novo Aidar military and civil administration of Luhansk region. He was in one of the most difficult areas because he was not used to looking for easy work. With the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine, he performed mission at the command positions in the armed forces of Ukraine. Oleg Yurchenko died bravely in a fierce battle near Bakhmut in the Donetsk region.
Throughout the 2 years of this challenging war, Ukrainian women have proven themselves as defenders of the state on par with men. Some have been defending Ukraine since 2014, while others joined the army after February 24, 2022. Andriana Susak-Arekhta, known by her call sign Malish, has been involved in the Russian-Ukrainian war since May 8, 2014. On that day, following her heart, she joined the Aidar battalion and holds the rank of junior sergeant. Officially, she served as the head of the sewing workshop for repair and maintenance of tangible property. Yet, as part of an assault group, she participated in liberating occupied cities and battles for Luhansk airport. She fought for the future of our nation and was awarded the For Courage Order by the state and from the people for military merits, a silver trident, People's Hero of Ukraine, with a red and black ribbon bar. At the front, Andriana fell in love and became pregnant. Upon returning to civilian life, she continued to support her sisters in arms by founding the Veteranka Women's Veteran Movement. With support from UN Women in Ukraine, she achieved legislative changes allowing women to hold combat positions in the Ukrainian army. In 2020, she earned a master's degree in public management and administration from Kyiv Mohyla Academy. After the full-scale invasion began, Andriana, along with her husband, took up arms once again, participating in the liberation of Kyiv, Kharkiv, and Kherson regions. In late November 2022, she was severely injured by a mine. She survived, recovered, and traveled to the USA on a mission where she met with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the USA, General Charles Brown, to discuss aid to Ukraine. The women's veteran movement, which Andriana Susak-Arekhta led before the Great War, has now resumed providing psychological assistance. The organization continues to actively support the military by collecting funds for essential equipment. The struggle continues for Ukraine, for our independence, and for the future of our children. The Ukrainian character, our culture, and our identity have been shaped and strengthened over centuries. Throughout our long history, Ukrainian men and women have steadfastly pursued the struggle for statehood. The desire for freedom and independence is our defining value, providing us with the drive and strength to remain true to ourselves while upholding our traditions and historical state-building experience.